Article here is from the Wall Street Journal. I read it earlier, but I tried to pull it up, but they want me to subscribe and pay. I read a lot of stuff. I can't be paying for everything that I click on. Are older workers the answer to retail staffing? See, the Wall Street Journal has a different headline or lady. Okay, Boomer, you are hired. When can you start? Yeah, right. We know there's age discrimination and there are laws about it, but it's very hard to prove it. Companies tend to discriminate against older people, and so this is kind of shocking that companies want to hire older people. Right? For years, even Congress had to pass laws to protect older people. That's people from age 40 and up. A Wall Street Journal article reports employers are turning to older individuals to fill jobs mainly because they find them more reliable and willing to work than younger people. A WSJ-NORC survey finds that people 65 and older are not only not afraid of hard work, 75% of them crave it. Yeah, that's because living longer, I guess. If you have nothing to do and you retire and nobody wants to hire you, it's kind of hard to wake up every day doing nothing, being in the same neighborhood, and just waking up in the morning, going to sleep later at night. You don't want to live like that. As a point of comparison, 61% of 18 to 29-year-olds say hard work is very important to them. So that's a big gap right there, right? That's like 14% difference between older and younger people. The list of complaints about younger workers raised in the article is similar. Some employers find that teens and young adults often turn up late for work, call out more frequently, and spend more time on their social media feeds instead of tending to customers and other tasks. Kip Comfort, who owns 2 package shipping stations in Pennsylvania, was highlighted in the journal article for his decision to recruit older workers. He said it takes longer to train older workers, but the extra time is worth it. Once they get it, God, it's refreshing, I say. This is what we are doing today, and it gets done. Their shift starts at 9 and they are here at 8:50. It's their work ethic. The willingness of Mr. Comforty and others to employ older workers in jobs from the front line to the C-suite is part of a trend that has shown ageism complaints filed with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission fall since 2011. The decline is partly attributed to an aging population, with older members still making significant workplace contributions, and a shortage of younger workers available or willing to take on specific jobs. It would be a mistake to assume that ageism is no longer an issue in society or the workplace. A study published last year in the JAMA, which is the Journal of American Medical Association Network, found that 93.4% of individuals between 50 and 80 reported everyday ageism was prevalent. So that's a high number. Individuals coping with ageism were found to have more negative health consequences than those who did not. And ageism from Canada made international headlines last year. Lisa LaFlamme, 58 at the time, did not have her contract as a news anchor renewed by CTV. Her employer criticized Ms. LaFlamme after she decided against dyeing her hair blonde. Ms. LaFlamme worked at the network for 35 years. Let me just stop there. A few years ago, I remember in Spectrum 1 or New York 1 here, there used to be Time Warner cable, and now they switched. They call themselves Spectrum. Anyway, there were a number of women who sued them, who worked for them. I think there may be like 3 or 4 women, including like Roma Torre, who worked there many years. She used to do like the theater stuff. What's in the theater? Let me see if I remember some other names. There was one, I think, a Hispanic lady she used to cover Brooklyn. But anyway, and the guy who does the morning news, he been there a long time, a white guy, and they haven't touched him. I mean, the ladies who they fired are about, I don't know, they're probably around the same age category as some of the younger women. When I say younger, I mean they're older, but younger than maybe Roma Torre. And they had to eventually make some kind of a deal or so forth. And so they don't work there anymore. Nope. I think Annika Pergament, I think her name is, she still works there. She was around the same age, but she didn't get into it for some reason. But this is what happens. So this woman here was working for 35 years at the network. So I'm surprised she lasted that long. I mean, when you look at here in New York City, I remember Sue Simmons on NBC. She used to read the news with Joe Scarborough. Scarborough, I don't know how old he is, but I know he's older than me, and I'm not young. He's been reading the news for a long time, Joe Scarborough. Right? And he's still reading the news. And the woman they put the team him up with are much younger. They can be like his daughters, their ages, those women. And he's not going anywhere. He still has his contract, so forth. But Sue Simmons was let go. Yeah, and that was like the talk of the town. There was nothing wrong with Sue Simmons, So this is just an example there, right there. So this woman up in Canada, Miss LaFlamme, she didn't want to dye her hair blonde, so she was out. Dove and Wendy's in Canada launched social media campaigns against ageism due to Miss LaFlamme's case. Right there. Okay? So they have a discussion below here, and some of the people are calling out, about how, like, it's an attack on younger people. Well, let me just say this. Currently, the place that I work at, they got a number of young people who work there, and because of the emergency with the COVID and so forth, I guess many of these people were hired online, and they didn't really do extensive examination or what have you, like in the background. Usually you go to see if this person is a criminal, has a criminal past. But other things like recommendation, things like that, no, apparently not. And I know personally that because I don't work in one place, I go around. And this is why I could say this. See, if I only work like in one particular area, one site, one building, then of course, then one can say, well, how you know that? But I've worked in different places around Brooklyn, Manhattan. I've traveled. So anyway, the point is, some of the younger people and the system that they have, you don't have like a clock. You have to do it through your smartphone. And they had a system whereby even before I did any work for them, during the orientation, I remember in the training they told us that the system they have set up, they use something called deputy. That somebody he had clocked out, and he clocked out from, he was at Home Depot. Yeah, he was shopping at Home Depot here right in New York City. We have a few Home Depots here. And he was warning us, that you have to be careful because they can pull it up and see where you are. So if you're supposed to get out of work at 6 o'clock, right, and where you supposed to be working, and you at Home Depot, and let's say they calculate your job site, and Home Depot is like maybe 3 miles away from you, well then surely you're stealing the company time. That's what that comes down to. Because if you can clock out from Home Depot, and the nearest Home Depot from your job site where you're supposed to be that particular day, that shows that you left early. So getting back to so I knew about it. So he told us in the training what to expect, and he warned us about that, you see. So people knew that, but they were doing it anyway. So, and much of the people who were doing it were younger people. They will come in, sometimes have two hours lunch, come back, and then disappear for the rest of the day. And one of the providers, these are people like who can write prescriptions and so forth, like nurse practitioners and physician assistants and others like that. Some of these people are complaining, you see, because they don't have the staff to work with them. These people just disappear. And then when you call them out, they make threats. And they will bring their brother or something like that to confront you. They don't want to do it themselves. No, I'm going to bring my brother to confront you or to teach you a lesson. That kind of stuff. And so I saw that. That happened a number of times. Or there are people who just they show up, but they were sleeping. You see, they're covered up. They have like a blanket there, and they were sleeping during the talk. They're not really working. You see? Or they will come in late. They will come in late in the morning. And then they wrote, there's a program they have there. You can get on an app and say, you had problems signing and what have you. Can you clock me in? So this I know from personal experience. Now here's another thing that somebody told me. One of the providers told me. One of the person who can write prescription. She told me that somebody had done a test, one of these COVID tests, and she didn't read it when it should. You see, that's another thing. You have like a certain time space. You have to read that test. If you go beyond that, then the test would be void when you try to read it. And so she messed up badly. More than likely, like talking on the phone and so forth. Many times people, they're talking on the phone. They're not keeping track of time. So those tests, you have to pay attention. You have to be within the frame of mind. You can't be talking to your friends on the phone and the time is clicking by, going by. So what happened, she messed it up. And the provider was there, and what she did, she threw it in the garbage. and she said she voided like it never happened. So that means, let's say you went there and took that test, right? And you're waiting for your results. Let's say you got to go to do surgery in a few days from now, like maybe 2 days from now, and you have surgery, and you're waiting on that test because the surgeon ain't gonna operate on you if you don't have that test to show that you're negative. So you waiting on that test, and I'm saying this because this is important. But yet the person who did the test didn't really do their job. Maybe was talking to her boyfriend or what have you. And she throws it in the garbage because she voided it. Instead of giving you a call and telling you something went wrong with the test, can you please come back? And we will do it. I think that would be the best thing to do. Most people will agree. Nope. She threw it in the garbage. So when the provider realized what she did, she called her out on it. Well, she became argumentative, so she had to report that to higher ups. What happened? And this woman was written up. You see, so there are several other scenarios. People don't showing up. People going to do their laundry while they're supposed to be working. And I don't know. It seems as though it's like with a lot of younger people. The older people, like me, for example, we don't really behave like that. You know? I mean, when you reach a certain age, if you have a job, well, yeah, you have skills, but many times some of these companies don't want to give you the opportunity to work, even though you have skills. They figure, well, it'd probably be hard for you to learn, you won't know what you're doing, or you slow down, or they look at different things. Maybe you're going to be sick. Maybe you drive the health insurance up, all kinds of crazy stuff. This is how they think. So now that the market is affected and the way jobs are, and they have a hard time finding people, then, now they're looking out for to see if they can bring in some older folks to work. Well, that's unfortunate that they finally saw the light, and they figured that you look at that study they did, where it shows younger people, about 75% of them, they have a problem with hard work. They're not in it, and they have a different mindset too. Because when you're young, it's like, why do I have to be here? Why do I have to work all these hours? I just want to earn money and spend. I don't want to be sitting in an office or what have you, or so forth. So that's the mindset. So I don't know, but like I said, I traveled around. I've been to the different boroughs, and I see some of the same kind of behavior, and it's mostly the younger people. Now, it's not like picking on younger people, but it's just that younger people seem to always have something to do. It's like when you're young, you always have something to do. The 24 hours in the day is just not enough for you. So you always got to do something. And if they could steal time, then hell, they're going to do it. Which is very, very unfortunate, but I know down in the comments below here, one person said, well, I know a lot of young people, but they don't behave like that at all. Well, that may be true, but you can know a lot of young people, but try working with a lot of young people, which most older people don't really have that opportunity. I just happen to be one of those exceptions that happen to be working in an environment that have a lot of young people, like people in their 20s and so forth, who don't really seem to give a damn, Yeah, they don't seem to give a damn at all. They just come to work, and they seem to have like business. They have business to attend to.